If you are aware of a state which you call is, this implies another state called isn't.
We start from nothing and then return to nothing. It can actually be quite compelling.
Nothingness.
Infinity's 2024 program is We Were Here.
We looked at how we were approaching the last handful of years, and they were very esoteric and emotional and thought-provoking. So we wanted to stay on that path. When picking this program, we wanted to dive into the nature of what it means to be human.
Words define us. If ever we feel lost or alone or utterly ordinary, odds are it's language that helped us find our way out. And when you find yourself struggling to connect, the right word can transcend the distances between us and remind us of our common humanity. What else is possible? Because if a single word could do all that, just imagine all the words we might be missing.
The Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows is actually words to describe human emotions where we don't have a word in the English language.
Richard Cravens actually showed us a video that just aesthetically was really pleasing. It was always going back to the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's liberation through understanding of the in-between. What happens between life and death, and everything that follows and everything in between, whether that's our struggle, whether that's our happiness.
Everybody on this earth has an expiration date. That's something we all share in common, which is pretty cool. But the thing that separates us is what we do while we're on earth.
I believe it's a good reminder that there is a start, there is an end. Where are you right now?
From a music standpoint, we just have artists and tracks that really inspire us. The primary through line melodically comes from an artist called John Bellion.
Stupid Deep.
Yes. While we were in that creative process, I was like, what else can we use by John Bellion to have a consistent fidelity throughout? And I found Meant to Live.
Then we have this track kind of in the middle called Threshold. It's by an artist called Sungazer.
We play in 1916.
Oh, we wrote it like that. I don't think it was.
It was an odd meter. It's super inspiring. Like, if you're a music nerd like us, like, it's really, really cool. So the aim was to take that element and that feeling of the sound washing over you with the odd meter and bringing that to infinity.
The show begins from this moment of nothingness, a birth of hopeful innocence.
It's all soundscape. What would it sound like to have something that was like in the womb?
Stereo wide imaging, and then we throw it right down the middle just to help highlight expansion.
What we want you to hear is just like this ambiguous nothingness, the singularity that we have.
We really want people to feel like they're overwhelmed and enveloped by a wall of sound.
That is interrupted by, we call them the neurons. You'll hear these little bigga-da-bums.
You're going to see within the visual coordination that everything is opening up, and you're going to see all the performers come up.
And it builds up to a point where we bring the battery voice and we deliver these little sprinkles of that motif.
Almost like neurons firing and something coming to life. And then once that downbeat happens, life officially begins.
It's the musical representation of like the body coming online for the first time. Moving into the second movement, it's more young adulthood, factory setting where you're going through life on a little bit of a repetitive motions.
A mundane life of frustration and self-doubt, thinking that you were meant for something more.
If you're to see our visual performers, they're all going to be at these desks, almost as if they're in a factory and they're working hard through the day, through that snare feature.
It's just the idea of static, mundane, repetitive life. We represent that through buzz rolls when we start that first movement. So it's all just, again, this one static sound, this dullness, this repetitiveness, where you're showing up for work, you're clocking in, you're working, you're going home, you wake up the next day, you clock in, you go to work, you go home, and I'm trying to find a way to represent that through a battery voice.
After that, you're going to see the visual ensemble get on top of the desks, almost as if they are climbing the corporate ladder. They are now commanding the entire battery, and the battery becomes the workers in the machine and the machine itself. So you're going to see all these turns and all these effects that are almost representing the visual ensemble becoming essentially the bosses of this.
Just ended this big aggressive battery phrase, and it's kind of that moment of conflict. The tenors finalize that statement. And then the boxes form up, and there's this wall of mirrors. You've dealt with those conflicts that arise in life. Maybe you've built these walls and systems in place in your brain where that's how you deal with that conflict. But then when we hit that bass voice, it's a moment to like step back and see those defense mechanisms and that personal ability of growth. The performers actually get a chance to see themselves in that moment, and it's kind of really personal for them. And we're treating that arrangement reflective in nature as well. So you might hear things mirrored in the bass voice from the front ensemble or vice versa. There's a lot of cool interplay with that.
Is this the life they want to live? Is this race of corporate work and mundane and static the thing that they want to be remembered for? Or do they want to live life to the fullest?
That takes us to kind of the end of the show, our movement 4, movement 5. And that is just truly the moment where you decide to live your life to the fullest.
Where we realize that we are meant for something more, and then we have this self-awareness, this transcendence.
We realize that it's time for us to be us. What if who we were supposed to be was always us and was always there? And now we decide it's not about these things that we do during our day and the work and all these things. It's about us and our relationships with people.
It's uplifting, it's inspiring, it makes you feel good. It has this emotional build to it.
And then we accept that one day we're not going to be here anymore. One day this is all going to be gone. So what is our mark? What is the thing we want to be remembered for? How did we want to live our lives before we eventually say goodbye?
I think people will maybe treat the show like it's about death, but more so it's about life. I think that's the mood and the emotion that we're trying to share there. It takes it to a whole new level where, like, yeah, it's emotional, but it's also visceral. Like, you can really feel that energy. And if we can make people feel something, even for 3 seconds, and I feel like as a design team and as a music team, we did our job.
Infinity's identity is written with this front ensemble outro. Like, the members themselves, they get little reminders of, like, this is from this show, this is from this show. It's like, it's riddled throughout it. And you notice, like, Infinity, we have our motifs, like the Twin 2 motif. You'll hear that occasionally. And it's not to make a statement of, like, this is what's shaping the phrase. It's more just like a reminder of Infinity's identity. And I think that's really important through a show like this.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and leave a comment below. It helps YouTube know that you guys like this kind of content. Want to watch more Drumline? I made a playlist just for you. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Thanks again for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.